Why hello, Blair here of Chaos Costumes to teach you more about Nomad. With a fun little project, because why not? Anyway, without further ado, let's get to it. So if you remember correctly, we made this cool lantern last time, and this time we're going to make a dog helmet. That's right, a dog helmet, because why not? And I'm gonna switch over to the Nacky Blue, because it brings me joy. And I'm going to do something different, and I'm going to use a reference image in the background because I want to know what shape my dog's head is. So I'm going to take this image and transform it so it is kind of perfectly sideways. And I'll go down here and I'll increase the overlay so it's kind of over the top of my sphere so I can use it to sculpt. So now I can just push and pull it around so I can get it approximately my dog's head shape. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the closer the better. Now, from the front view, it looks, stupid. So I'm gonna use a different reference picture, and look at how cute she is. She's such a cutie. She's a big lady. And line that up as best I can to get the silhouette of the ears and the side of her face better. Like, this doesn't have to be exactly correct, but the closer the better. Now I can put in the little eye sockets. Now that I'm thinking about it, I need a top view, so let's add that. Now I can see what the top of her head looks like, and push it around. Now that we have this grim mask of death, I can go in with the smooth tool and make it more, well, smooth for the next step that we're going to do. Just fixing those ears a little bit. Now that I have a proxy of my dog's head, it needs to be the right size. Hello, my friend. I have incentive, so comply, please. Measuring a dog, very difficult. They like to wiggle, and me trying to film this is absolutely impossible, but you get the gist. I measured her big ol' nugget as best I could. Of course, this would be easier if I could scan her head, but I'm sorry, but dogs move around a lot, and they have to be perfectly still to be able to scan them, so this is my next best solution. Now that I'm done pushing stuff around, I'm going to put the reference picture behind it one more time to see if I need to change anything. I do a little bit on the bridge of her nose, so I'm just going to fix that up real quick. Now that I fixed that up, we can start building out this helmet. And I'm going to use something special, which is the dynamic topology, and increase the detail substantially, to a point where if I voxel remeshed it that tight, it would probably crash. And I'm going to go in with a mask tool, and with the dynamic topology turned on, paint the mask so I can get a smoother result. And I'm going to go in with the unmasking select mask and kind of get it to the shape that I want with the lasso tool. I'll sharpen that mask up a little bit. I'm actually going to turn off auto validate and draw with the lasso tool and then switch to the polygon tool, just so I can get a more accurate taper. And I think I'll chop off the top of this and the side. Now that I have the shape that I like, then I can go in and shell it with a thickness of about, let's say 8 is a value I want to use. And I have it plus and minus, so it's actually going into the head a little bit. Now I'll go in with the smooth operation and kind of smooth it down. But I want to improve the topology, so I'm going to remesh it and then go in and smooth it one more time. Now that I have this first shape, I want it to come off the head a little bit, so I'm going to move it. Now I can go in with the mask and clear all and add some more shapes. Same basic gist. I'll go with the lasso, turn off the auto validate, switch to polygon, and push stuff around. And I'm realizing that I have it going over the middle, so I'll turn off symmetry, get at least one right, and get rid of the rest of this nonsense by turning off the symmetry. And mirror that, so I have the shape on both sides. And I'm realizing that it needs to be a little chunkier down here, so I'll fix that up real quick. And to do that, I'm just going to turn up the stroke smoothing quite substantially, so I get a cleaner line. I'm witnessing the creative process in action here, and realizing that this needs to touch. because the inspiration that I'm actually using is from Princess Armory. I have taken a huge inspiration from them for, I don't know, over a decade, probably decades at this point. But it's this elven helm that I'm trying to kind of replicate. I'm not doing it one for one, but I want it to be close-ish. So once again, I'll extrude that shape and realize that, oops, I did not complete the shape on the inside, so let's fix that. Now I can go in, extrude that shape, and globally smooth it. Then remesh it, and smooth it a little bit one more time. Now I can go in and change the pivot, and push that out a little bit on that first shape, so it's overlapping nicely. And I'll flatten this little peak out that I don't want. Then use the move tool to kind of push it down. I actually want the middle to be longer than the sides. I'm going to go in and add one more. And do that trick with the dynamic topology with the mask. So it's nice and smooth. Clear the mask and draw it again. This time I'm just going to go in, like I did before, with the lasso, and turn off auto validate and switch to polygon to just save myself some time. And I still forgot about symmetry, so I'm just gonna hand fix this. It's not super important in the middle. I can just do the same thing, or I'll do the smooth operation. Also remesh it, and smooth it one more time. Now I want these to stair step a little better, so I'm just gonna change the pivot and push it out. Now that I'm happy with this little crest, I'll clear the mask and start making a mask, I guess. As I turn up the stroke smoothing, my lines are a lot less shaky than my hand actually is. Now that we're happy with the mask, then I'll do the same thing, but make this a little thinner with a 6. And extract that shape, and smoothing it just a smidge, only 3000%. The little things. Remeshing it, and smoothing it one more time. And pushing this detail out once again. We can go in and make a mohawk, but if I don't do the dynamic topology on that mohawk, it looks like hot dog shit. So I'm actually going to go in with the unmask, and you see I'm increasing the topology by using the dynamic topology in the unmask and adding, I don't know, triangles in the middle here. Now I can go in with the select mask, and it's nice and clean. Look at that. And I want this mohawk to be a little tapered, so I'm going to go in with the lasso tool that isn't validated and polygon tool it. Now I can just take out that middle and make this mohawk. So I'm actually going to make it a lot thicker. Extract that and push in the front so it's behind the detail that we so lovingly made. And smooth that out just a smidge, then voxel remesh that, and then smooth it out again. Now we got this little mohawk piece done. I think based on the design of the original helmet, there's like a ponytail that comes out the back, but I just like this design element. Now I'm going to go in and add a border around what I just did. Now I can extract that at a level 6, and keep in mind that is plus and minus. Smooth that out, remesh it, and smooth it some more. I'm not a big fan of how this terminates back here, so I'm just going to trim it. Should I have designed it better the first time? Yes. Did I? No. We're making art, baby. And I'll just smooth it out a little bit to kind of match that up. I want this part to overlap and not be all one piece, so I'll just push that out a little bit. And now I can add rivets, and I'll use the insert tool with the quad sphere and smoosh that down a bit so that it could be more rivet-like. And a little trick with the array tool is that you want to change the pivot and the green arrow going to where you want it to go, a little directional thing. Now when you add a curve repeater, it goes the direction you want it to go and not like up or something. So I'm just going to push this curve along the sides here and increase the count. Make sure this curve is on top of the shape I'm trying to adorn, but I have snapping turned on, so let's turn that off so I can see what I'm working with. At this point, it would have been smart to just toggle X-ray instead of just like blindly assuming what shapes go where, but you know, the little things. Now that I have these rivets, let's build out the rest of this helmet. Now that I have these side pieces, I can extract them, but realizing I want to rotate only one, but have it mirrored. So what I'm just going to do is turn off symmetry and just trim one half off, and then go in and add a mirror modifier to bring it back. Now when I go to move it and do center of the gizmo, I can move just one, but it's moving them on both sides. Now that I have it the way I want it with the move tool, I can go in and smooth it a smidge, voxel remesh it, and smooth it again. I feel like you got the gist of this lesson. Like, you get it. Smooth operation, voxel remesh smooth. Do the mask thing, extrude it, all that jazz. That's all that I'm doing, really. At least to build out the base of this helmet. I need to design something that actually works with the rest of the dog's head, and I'm crossing my fingers and hoping it works. It's not a guarantee that it'll work, but I'm assuming this will be good enough. Worst case scenario, I have a heat gun. I can figure out how to smush it on her head, as long as the eye distance is right. But this final part, I'm just going to make a 4, so ultimately, at the end result, it should be 2 millimeters thick. Extract that. And I want to add a neat little detail, just like the reference picture, with these little feathers along the trim. So I'm going to use a quad sphere and make that into a feather by just lengthening it and squishing it down. Just keep in mind, we are 3D printing this with a FDM printer, so it can't be as thin as a feather or as detailed, but we can get the concept across. And what I'm going to do is have front-facing vertex only toggled on when I add this crease, so I'm not messing with the backside of it. And now we have a feather proxy. Now I'm going to change the pivot so the green arrow goes towards the direction I want it to go. And add a curve repeater. Saving myself time, one repeater at a time. And I'll just increase the count and turn on the twist twice and swivel that around, and the radius so that it can taper like this. And when it does taper like that, you have to increase the count if you actually want them to touch. To improve the angle of these feathers, I'm just going to select one feather and rotate it so that they have a little bit more flow. Now I'm going to take that quad sphere and curve. I'm actually going to clone it and drag this over to the other side so I can complete the look. Trust the process. There is a rhyme to my reason. Because, I'm just going to add a mirror to solve my problem. And voila, it's on both sides. But it looks like dog dookie, so let's fix that. The biggest reason why I didn't have one repeater that goes along this curve here is that it's never that successful. Like, doing a tube around a harsh corner never really works out as well. So that's why I did 2. Now I'll just go in with the move tool and make these feathers a little bit more elegant. Now that I'm happy with those feathers, I'm just gonna do that all over again, but for this side wing panel thing. Guess who pulled out the wrong shape? Me. So, uh, actually select what I wanted to duplicate. And just finish off these feather textures. In my mind, I do crazy stuff and I spend way too much time on doing something, so these videos are actually really helpful for me because I have to finish something very quickly. So, like, how simple this is not to my, like, standard of finished art, but it will still look good, so. I'm just gonna send it. Like, if I made a one-to-one copy of the Prince's Armory, like, beautiful design, it would probably take me at least 10 to 20 hours of sculpting, and I'm not going to make a video of that, sorry. So I just picked out the design elements that are very prominent and go with that. At least get the silhouette right. But, to, you know, finish out this silhouette correctly, I'm gonna add a border with a tube in front of these feathers, so it makes more sense, question mark? I don't know. But at least it will terminate cleanly. Yes, that is what we're going with. But I'm just going to change that profile to a square. Make this much smaller. And change the radius twice so I can taper this off. Now it's nice and pretty. I'll just twist this around so it frames it nicely. And along these ear borders things, I want to add a little decorative detail. So I'm actually going to sweep this around. Just do one, because I learned my lesson from last time. I extract a nice little shell, and of course smooth it. And voxel remesh it, and guess what I'm gonna do after that? Smooth it. And since I made the mask very sloppily, I'll fix these little corners here. And now I'll just add some rivets the same way I did last time. Oh, of course, pushing this over so it actually overlaps. Did you know, fun fact, when I started in my Etsy journey, I don't know if any of you know, I do have an Etsy store. I've been in business since 2011. This whole Nomad thing is a new adventure for me. But when I started my Etsy store, I made leather goods, like these ones. Yeah. I have so many supplies of things that I don't do anymore. And I just keep them nicely organized, so when I do need them, they are there for me. That is part of the reason why Prince's Armory was like, or is it Prince Armory? I don't know. But that's one of the reasons why they were so inspirational to me, because I saw their leather work and I was like, wow. Wow. But I don't have the patience to make something so beautiful because leatherworking takes forever. Compared to this glorious medium where I can like crank something out that looks decent in a couple hours, yeah, I'll stick with 3D rendering. But I know how. I know how to do leatherworking, and so I'm trying to make this make sense, kind of, for leatherworking. But once again, I'm just changing the pivot of the sphere rivet thing so that when I do make a curve repeater, it goes in the direction I want it to. And to get the situation a little bit more flush, I just hit the twist twice. Now that I'm relatively happy with what I've done here. What is this? I put something in a repeater, and it's like repeating itself. That's fun. I don't know how to fix that without ruining everything, and I'm not going to devote time to it, so I guess that's just going to stay there and get booleaned out. Yep, that's the solution. With all the spaghetti in here. That's so funny. Didn't even notice. Didn't even pay attention. Let's just combine all those mirrors and say screw it. What problem? I don't know what you're talking about. I meant to do this. But the biggest thing you can take out of this, whatever lesson there is to have of it, is maybe A, pay attention, and B, you want to combine all of your repeaters before you combine everything, because it will not join everything all at once. But we'll just take all this nonsense and join that. I'm surprised it's only 3.5 million vertices, but I'll decimate that to a reasonable size. I'll take my dog head proxy and decimate it also, so I have the highest chances of success here. Save this, because I have no idea if it's actually gonna work. And Boolean out the dog head proxy thing. Crossing my fingers. Oh my god, I did it. It did it. Count me as surprised. It like doesn't look the best back here, but I think it's gonna work. Oh my god, is it gonna work? That is so funny. I'll just save that again because I don't want to do that again. Now that I have my perfect singular layer, I will name it and decimate it significantly. I should have done this in a different order, but make sure to cut out holes for what I would guess the ear loops, because I don't know why this needs to be, so I'm gonna make this modular. And since I decimated it first, it didn't cut the other side, so I'm just gonna mirror it. Here, problem solved. And you want to be careful how much you decimate, because it can get a little funky, so decimate at your discretion. You see that? Like, it's too far. You've pushed it too far. So you want to go in and undo the decimation if it starts looking that jaggy. But now this is ready to slice. Now let's slice this bad boy. So I'm just gonna insert that. I actually repaired it in Microsoft 3D Builder or whatever, because it crashed in Creality. So I don't know what the problem is, but I fixed it by myself. But the slicing of this is gonna be pretty simple. And the Creality slicer is weird because I can't change the slider if I do not have supports turned on. I'm clicking it, it's doing absolutely nothing. I could draw a little itty line, but I don't want that. I'm just going to toggle the support on, whatever, enable support. And now I can slide the slider. Weird. I am just going to draw some supports in this probably fragile area of the nose bridge. I have a feeling it's either going to fail or there's going to be a really severe layer shift on that. And draw supports along lips of pretty much everything. I want this to stick to the bed, ideally, and not jiggle off. I mean, with a Core XY printer, it's a lot less likely for it to move off the bed, but I'm paranoid. And I'm just going to add little support, like, islands here, just so it doesn't wiggle. Now that I'm pretty happy with that, I will slice it. And realize I have the default supports, which would be a nightmare to remove, letting you know. Change that to tree. Yeah, let's try that again. There we go, that's much easier to remove and much less wasted material. Let's send this print to the printer and hope for the best. I'm assuming it's going to work out.
she's so cute.
When I tried to make these things, the first draft of it was way too big, and then this curve along the back, that didn't allow for flat skull to exist. And for some reason when I repaired it, it like separated these two pieces. There was a lot of issues, so I reprinted it. This is the finished version. Her nickname is Heavy because she's a big girl. But yeah, I just attached her collar with like elastic, and I made connection points down here so it wouldn't like lift up. It's not perfect. It doesn't fit her perfect. It would be perfect if I could scan her silly little head. But honestly, it turned out so good. I am very pleased, and I hope you guys have been having fun. Also, I did like new things to my nails, so now they look like little opals. I'm working on these too, but these fingers looking pretty great. I want to show you how big she really is. Come in, it's okay. There we go. Hi, cutie. Hi, big lady. She weighs like as much as I do. I'm pretty sure. But she's a big lady. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But yeah, she's huge. I'm really proud of socializing her to wearing a helmet because she was not enthused at first. Now, with enough treats, she accepts it. She doesn't like it, but she accepts it. And as you can see, she's absolutely enormous. Her breed is a Presa Canario, if you are curious. It's like a Cane Corso with a tail. That's what I call it, because nobody knows what a Presa Canario is, usually. Just a Mastiff. A Spanish Mastiff instead of an Italian Mastiff. I'm actually trying to figure out Patreon. I don't have anything on it, and I keep telling myself, oh, I'll tell people about it once I figure it out. You can just follow me there. If you guys want to support me, that would be much appreciated, but you don't have to. I'm gonna keep making videos regardless because I'm really enjoying this. If you really like what I do, please like the video. If you have any words of encouragement or anecdotes about your dog or anything, I don't know, tell me a story about your dog. I read the comments. Leave a comment down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Every little bit counts. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.